The last hour, Newcastle owner Mike Ashley has revealed he wants to sell the club as soon as possible. Since Ashley took over, the Magpies have had 5 managers and were relegated to the Championship last week. Ashley told the Sunday Times it has been catastrophic for everybody. I've lost my money and I've made terrible decisions. Now I want to sell it as soon as I can. Advisors will be appointed shortly. Of course I regret it. I never said I was an expert in football clubs. I was just a fan, although a very wealthy fan. But I'm not so wealthy now. I put my money into it and I tried my best, but I accept my best was woefully short. I'm genuinely sorry for everybody about what has happened. Pleased to say we're joined now by Steve Wraith from Players Inc. magazine. Steve, very good evening to you. What do you make of this latest statement, or this latest interview that Mike Ashley has given to the newspapers?
Once again, disappointing that it's come via a newspaper. You know, I was on you know, a couple of nights ago, you know, on your channel, basically saying that, you know, it'd be nice if Mike Ashley would come out and speak to your channel and just, you know, express, you know, his views, you know, to the general public. But obviously he's listened to, you know, what I've had to say and other supporters via different mediums, and he's decided to issue this statement. And you know, it's becoming like a regular occurrence. We don't know, you know, we don't know what's actually happening. You know, rumours are rife around Tyneside, and there have been for, you know, quite a few months since the club was taken off the market. That at the end of the season, he would see where he was at and decide what to do. And you know, to me, it hasn't really come as a great surprise. But there's a lot more to this, you know, than meets the eye, I think. And you know, the discussions have been going on with Alan Shearer for the last few days. Our managerial position is up in the air, and it's a strange situation, you know. There's never a dull moment in Newcastle United, and you know, never so more than now. And you know, if the truth is that he wants to sell the club and he's going to put advisors in, then, you know, the big question I would ask is, you know, how much is he valuing the club now? You know, we're not in the Premiership anymore, we're in the Championship.
Steve,
you know,
Steve, does that matter how much value he wants? I mean, you don't want to be going into starting the Championship with the club in complete disarray again. I mean, I'd imagine, you tell me as a fan, don't you want just this done and dusted ASAP, owners come in, let's start again?
Yeah, we do, but this is the problem that you've got, you know. Mike Ashley bought the club without doing, you know, due diligence. He bought the club at an inflated price. You know, he buys the club, he finds that there's a lot of debt there which he didn't know about because he didn't do due diligence. And the situation he has is that, you know, the club has now gone from a Premiership club to a Championship club, and, you know, there's no fact, you know, there's no greater fact than that the club is now worth less money than it was when he bought it. And that is the problem. You know, somebody isn't just going to come along and buy the club. It doesn't work like that, you know. It's a slow process, and the problem we have is that, you know, you can't just come in nowadays and buy a football club overnight. It doesn't happen like that. It takes time. So, you know, it almost looks now as if we're going to be in a similar position, you know, and you know, as we were when he last put the club up for sale. We're going to have to wait. Someone's going to have to match his estimation. You know, it already looks now to me that, you know, we've got a situation which could cause us problems at the start of the new season. And we've also got a situation where we've got players who are on Premiership wages who are going into the Championship, and those wages, you know, those wages will remain the same. I still think, you know, unfortunately, that my prediction of, you know, having to go into this new season in the mess that we're in, not being able to get rid of players who are on 60, 70, 80,000 pound a week, we're going to be in a situation where we'll have to go into administration, you know. I hope it doesn't happen, but it certainly doesn't look bright. The future doesn't look bright for Newcastle United whatsoever.
Steve, I'm just going to remind viewers, people who are just tuning in now, about what a little extract of what he's told the Sunday Times. It has been catastrophic for everybody. I've lost my money and I've made terrible decisions. Now I want to sell it as soon as I can. Advisors will be appointed shortly. How does that view and that statement affect Alan Shearer?
Well, you know, it a lot depends. I mean, the rumours are flying around Tyneside that there's a consortium ready to step in. If that's the case, that would be fantastic. You know, as I say, you know, I'm just reading between the lines. You know, Alan Shearer has been involved in meetings at Newcastle United. What they have been about, only he, Mike Ashley, Derek Lambias know. You know, Ian Dowie, Lee Johnny, all the lads who, you know, who've been, you know, photographed and pictured, you know, over the last few days. There's obviously been meetings going on. We've been led to believe that's about the managerial situation. you know, there was redundancies at Newcastle United yesterday. Big, you know, big names, big movers and shakers moved on. You know, the press officer's gone. One of the big movers and shakers behind the scenes has gone. David Williamson, sorry. You know, there's a situation obviously brewing. Something's obviously going on, which we're all not privy to. And you know, the sooner that we find out what's going on, you know, the better for us. You know, you know, you've already coined it. You know that, you know, going into this season, completely unstable again will be catastrophic for Newcastle, and that's the situation we've got to avoid. You know, and you know, maybe the decisions have already been made, and where, you know, that this interview that he's given to the Sunday Times is just like, you know, it's the latest move in the big game of chess, which has been going on for the last few months since the club was, you know, supposedly taken off the market. Hopefully there's a consortium out there, and let's just hope that, you know, whoever comes in can do a lot better than Mike Ashley did. And yeah, it's a crying shame that he hasn't come out and spoken. You know, that for me is the biggest fault. You know, the biggest thing I can criticise him for, because he's received a lot of criticism from me in particular, but from other fans and from other organisations. You know, and the criticism, as he's already accepted, has been, you know, it's because he hasn't done his job properly. He hasn't come in and said he was an expert, but he hasn't come in and done the job properly. And you know, the only credit I can give him is he's holding his hands up again and saying that he's made mistakes. But you know, holding your hands up and saying you made a mistake, you know, doesn't get the club out of the predicament it's in. It's actions speak louder than words.
Okay,
and
Steve,
that's what we need.
You're making your point very clear indeed. And as a sort of sports news reader here, I should be quite neutral. But I think any human being is interested in sport would look at Newcastle fans and think, you know what, you've been treated pretty shabbily here. So if you had just one sentence to wrap it up, and you had a personal message for Mike Ashley, just in case he was watching now, what would that be right now?
Thanks for nothing.
And there's no chance to redeem himself, even if he came out and just had a chat with everybody.
He's already done the damage once, you know, and you know, watching Newcastle over the last 3 seasons, you know, and I know Mike Ashley hasn't been in charge of the club for 3 seasons, but it's been like watching, you know, somebody, or an animal with a terminal illness. You know it's going to die, and you know, it's been like watching it, you know, the passing away of an animal. You're being prepared for it, but you know, it's passed away. Actually, it's been taken to the vets and it's been put down, you know, and you've been prepared for it, and hence the reason I think Geordies have been able to hold their head up high all around the world and not be crying, you know, buckets over this relegation. We've expected it. Well, that's a crying shame, you know.
Steve, let's hope there's a breakthrough treatment around the corner for the club.
Thanks very much.
All right, Steve Wraith from Players Inc. fanzine there.